February is Black History Month, so we're going to take some time to look at the contributions of African Americans and Black mixologists from all over the world to see how they have contributed to and continued to preserve the world of mixology and bartending as we know it. We're starting off our 4-episode series this year with none other than Thandi Walton and her cocktail, Freakin' the Beets, on today's episode of Mike's Hard Reviews. Roll that intro. Hey there, how the ho there, and hello, welcome back to Mike's Hard Reviews. My name is Michael, I am a bartender from Southwest Michigan, and it's lovely to have you all here today. Yes, we're starting off our 4-episode series on Black History Month cocktails featuring Thandi Walton, whose full name is under her picture here. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I'm going to leave it here, but this is Miss Walton. Thandi Walton is a bartender based out of Atlanta, Georgia, who is originally from Zimbabwe and has been involved in the business of hospitality for over 20 years now. I think, based on the research I was doing, it's somewhere around 24, 25 now. Thandi's been based in Atlanta for most of her career and has done a lot of really great things, is very heavily accredited. She was originally the head bartender at Bar Margot in the Four Seasons Atlanta location and is now currently working in a members-only bar program run by the Thompson Hotel in Buckhead. I think that's a neighborhood in Atlanta. She leads their bar program and has done so since, I believe, 2021, 2023, somewhere around there. The dates weren't very clear. On top of those things, she is also the owner of her own drink consulting company, Thandi Pours LLC, and she does actually have a YouTube channel here on this very platform. Feel free to go ahead and check it out. She doesn't do all that much over there, but hey, if she sees that we're talking about her, maybe she'll start making videos and we can collab. I'm 100% down for that, actually. That'd be really cool. Thandi's work in cocktails and his hospitality is very much imbued with her upbringing in Zimbabwe. There's a really great Radio Imbibe episode that I listened to while researching Thandi's work and this cocktail in particular. And she talks about how in Zimbabwe, growing up, there's this big emphasis on people and knowing people, getting to spend time with people, making people happy. Parties are big, they involve alcohol, and people are very jovial. It seems like her interpretation of American hospitality has led her to include that part of her culture and seek out how an advancing field that is mixology and bartending can continue to accommodate cultural inclusion in positive ways. Frankly, Thandi is a name that I'm surprised I haven't heard before today, because I was listening to her speak on Radio Imbibe, and I'm just like, this woman is the exact thing that I love about hospitality. You get to make people happy, you get to meet people you would have never known existed otherwise, you get to change their minds, change their palates, factor in the things that they think to your technique and what they're working on that collectively creates the new trends that bartending relies on so heavily, especially in a social media heavy environment like we live in now. Thandi's work being so centric on collaboration really does lead us very well into her cocktail that we'll be talking about today, which is called the Freakin' the Beets. Freakin' the Beets was invented as a collaboration with a health blog and supplement firm called Dion Libra, which may or may not be defunct. Their site doesn't have a lot, but I also didn't have an account for the site, so I might just not be able to see it. It's a cocktail that was invented as a part of an outreach program for Sexual Wellness Month, which is the month of September. I didn't know that. And it's a gin sour that features beets as a predominant ingredient, or more specifically, beet juice. I did do some looking into this, actually. There is a compound known as nitrous oxide that is very heavy in beets and similar root vegetables. And there's NIH research that shows that a good indicator and sort of treatment for erectile dysfunction or general sexual dysfunction or cardiovascular health, for that matter, is actually the inclusion of more nitrous oxide in your diet. The idea was the Freak on the Beets is a play on Freak in the Sheets, and it's a beet-based cocktail that is in support of the idea that beets are good for your dick. Make your dick stand up. Have fun with that. And seeing as how today is Valentine's Day, I saw no more fitting cocktail for the holiday than that. So let's go ahead and take a look at Thandi's cocktail and see what kind of effect it has. Before we do that, though, I want to throw a shout out and a thank you to Thandi Walton. If you do manage to see this, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for doing the work that you do. It was really fun getting to hear your story and seeing how you bring the this very holistic idea of, you know, goodwill to others and hospitality into the modern world of bartending that you and I share. You are valid and respected, and I appreciate the work you do. Okay, let's talk about ingredients. For this cocktail, you are going to need simple syrup, beet juice, lemon dried gin, egg whites, and for garnish, some pomegranate seeds. Without further ado, let's go ahead and shake it up. We're gonna start with 3/4 of an ounce of egg white. We'll come behind that with 3/4 of an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Follow that up with 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Come behind that with 1.5 ounces of our London dry gin. And finally, the piece of resistance, 1 ounce of beet juice. That's all of our ingredients, so I'm gonna go ahead and cap this up and give this a dry shake for 15 to 20 seconds to emulsify that egg white. Dry shake. We're gonna crack this open and then go ahead and grab some ice to do our wet shake. We're going to very carefully cap this back up and give that a quick wipe down so we can get a nice dry seal on this again. Tap that down, and then we'll go ahead and give that a 15-second shake to chill and dilute. For serving, I'm going to grab a sour glass out of my freezer, and we'll double strain our cocktail into that glass. Finish that off, I'm going to take a spoon here and just carefully place a couple of pomegranate seeds into our foam as if we were making an espresso martini. And this foam is not very thick, so they're kind of sort of sinking in. Don't worry, I have a backup plan. Make some bitters, throw a couple drops on top of our egg white here. I'll drag a cocktail pick through those to make little hearts. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Freaking the Beets. Cheers. All right, let's go ahead and give our Freaking the Beets a taste. Fair warning, I have actually made this once before in a test run, but this was a much more well-controlled environment, so I'm excited. Cheers. That is so interesting. Oh my god. First thing, bitters, hearts on the top. Smart idea. The Angostura helps complement the beet very, very well, and it brings it together a little bit better than the previous garnish I chose, which was an expressed lemon peel. This is a little bit spicier and a little bit earthier. It plays into the rooty tones of the beets very well, and it kind of accentuates them a little bit. That 1 ounce of beet juice in there is doing a lot of carrying here. That is the vast majority of the flavor. And as a matter of fact, so much so that even a louder gin like Broker's actually does get stepped on just a tiny, tiny bit. I feel like you could make this cocktail with vodka and it would be equally as successful, but rum would actually be the thing I think might stand out the best. So if you wanted to have a little bit more spirit impact, I'd go in that direction. Regardless though, it is an absolutely delicious combination because there is this very subtle botanical note hidden behind a very loud, rooty note, given life with some citrus and pulled together with that sweetness. It's really, really impressive what's being done here because you don't think about how beets, something that's normally kind of acidic and in the way you have them at like, you know, Thanksgiving, for example, kind of gelatinous and almost synthetic tasting. This is like such a concentrated use of it that it washes across your palate and it has this really nice, fresh tasting, just aromatic flavor. It's really, really good. I honestly would describe this as like a garden sour, like a springtime, very light, very crisp, very refreshing drink that you wouldn't see around like winter because it simply doesn't have like that spicy unctuousness to it. This is much more like light and free-flowing and invigorating. It feels healthy actually too. It feels healthy. Frankly, from the perspective of this being a way to promote sexual wellness, I think this is an absolute A+. From the perspective of somebody looking to make a unique cocktail featuring a novel ingredient like beet juice, absolute success, A+. And frankly, Thandi, this is cool shit. It reminds me a lot of the Tunnel Vision, the Death & Co. cocktail we did ages ago now, that features carrot juice. It actually has a very similar feel to that, but it's in the opposite direction. Whereas that is sort of desserty, this is much more lunchtime, brunch time kind of vibes. And I would happily sling back 2 or 3 of these at brunch as an excuse to drink on a Sunday before noon. So that's Thandi Walton, the head of the Tesserae Members Only Club at the Thompson Buckhead Hyatt location and former head bartender at Bar Margot for the Four Seasons. 20-plus year veteran bartender who is making strides and capable of some really amazing things. Hopefully you guys give her a look and go further into her lexicon. Listen to that Radio Imbibe interview that she did. It's an absolutely great like podcast style conversational vibe. It is so cool, and you can really tell that Thandi has a really amazing perspective on this that is just absolutely heartwarming. Join me again later this month for another episode of our Black History Month cocktail series, but until then, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below to be notified when it goes up, and like this video to show me that you enjoyed learning a little bit of history while getting a little bit sloshed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all in our next video. Cheers, sláinte, goodbye, good night.